Dangerous toys? Oh, warriors. Yeah, a reminder, I do these videos late at night. I did my radio program today, Lynn's Warriors on WVOX, New York, 1460 AM New York, WVOX.com, and always WVOX app. And as I was readying to start the program, we do news breaks between, before the show starts. And don't hold me to this, but it was some woman talking about dangerous toys. And every 3 seconds, and remember, don't hold me to this because I was preparing for my program. I heard, we have all the monitors and everything going on in the studio. Dangerous toys. Let me tell you what's dangerous. The CSAM, the child sexual abuse material. Get used to hearing that, CSAM, because I'm going to keep telling you. Law enforcement prefers this term, and many people do, as opposed to child pornography. But let's call it what it is, child pornography, child sexual abuse material, one and the same kind of thing. All bad, all illegal, all escalating, all horrifying, and you don't need me to constantly tell you how bad all of this is. And I know when it doesn't directly affect you that you'll tune out. Why would you listen to me? But if it hits your home, you're going to wish you did listen to me. Lynn's Warriors was formed to raise awareness, educate the public, utilize the media to spread the word. And warriors, this is not a subject that mainstream media wants to talk about. That's why I started the YouTube channel. I wish I could do videos every single day, a couple a day. I don't have the time when I'm saving people. I don't have the time when I'm meeting with people or part of coalitions to get policy work. Because the only way I can see making a dent in all of this, I will not lie to you. We're not going to end sex trafficking. We're not going to stop human trafficking. We're not going to stop labor trafficking. The bottom line is the almighty dollar. You all know this. So we're not stopping it. So what are we going to do? We're not going to be, why do you bother? No, we are going to come together. We're going to share facts, information, resources. We're going to communicate with our own children and grandchildren. And we are going to disrupt this cycle within our own homes and communities. And if we all did this, I believe in my heart that, it would all snowball, and all the communities in my dream world would be covered across our country. And we make a dent in all of this because we want to intervene. We want to disrupt the cycle. We want to beat the predators. I know we can do it. It just takes, rolling up your sleeves, as they say, a little elbow grease. I've been doing it. This work chose me. I did not choose it. I am horrified. I wake up every day. I say, I sent out a newsletter this morning. I hope you all are signing up for it. You can go to the website, lynswarriors.org, scroll down, bottom right side, e-newsletter, sign up. And I send it out every Tuesday or Wednesday. And, I wrote, why is it so tough? This was why do we have to fight so hard against this CSAM, this child sexual abuse material? Because every meeting, the bulk of the meetings I'm in, this is what they're about, whether it's I'm here in New York City, in the New York City level, on the New York State level, I'm in meetings. I'm also in meetings with Washington. I am a very positive person. I don't want to sound negative. I'm tired of hearing the talk. I want action, action, action. The action you get from the warriors is the truth. That I constantly say we have to know what we're doing in our own home with our own children, trickles into our own communities, and that we need laws to hold the predators and big tech responsible, because the number one predator to our children is the internet. I wake up every day. Why is it so hard to fight this CSAM when we have all these meetings, and we have the Facebook hearings on Capitol Hill and TikTok and Snap, and we know the harms, we have the studies. Why is it so tough to hold the predators responsible? Why is it so tough for law enforcement? Why can't they arrest more predators? The biggest thorn in my side is, why isn't the DOJ, the Department of Justice, they work for us, prosecuting more of these disgusting criminals? A friend of mine, her Twitter feed, the other day, it popped up, and then I looked at her feed. It was every state. My head was spinning, which usually doesn't happen. Tired, yes. My head doesn't spin. Every story was, this one raped this child. This one sex trafficked that child. They were all children and teens. I also was working with a young woman who escaped sex trafficking. Well, let me stick to one thing at a time. There's so much to tell you, warriors, that I'm jumping all over, so I apologize for that. But so I wake up every day, and why can't we just stop it? Why doesn't the government just shut it down? They're shutting everything else down. Every day we have a lack of turkeys. We have now, I heard the commercial prior to my program today, the shortage of toys for Christmas, everything disrupt. They never do this, though, with the CSAM, the child sexual abuse material. They just don't do it. The answer I get, because I keep asking the same old question every day, whether it's law enforcement, an elected official, organizations, everybody I talk to. Why? Why is it so tough? When we have the studies, we have the facts, we see the children being abused. I say children, but there are also all people being abused and trafficked. And I get the same answer all the time. I keep asking, but I get the same answer. Lack of resources and lack of manpower. Again, another reason to follow and support Lynn's Warriors. I am doing it at a grassroots level, and I will be sharing with you some very exciting initiatives I've been working on all year that are finally coming to fruition in 2022. It's the only way it can be done, that we educate one-on-one. I don't know how many people will watch this video, but you know what? If I get one of you to watch it, I've done my job. If I get a few of you to share it, I've really done my job. I don't know why people don't share. I have this dream, and I brought it up in a meeting yesterday. I like to share, and you'll see my newsletters, and they're time sensitive. I put for that week, things coming up, things happening, Zooms, webinars you can join, the public can join. Here's the link, sign up. I'm astounded. And again, I brought this up on a Zoom meeting yesterday. I share all information I see fit, vetted information, to help in the home, to help in the community. So these are other nonprofits. These are other organizations. I have everybody on my program to share that voice. It's about messaging. It's not about me in a radio program. It's about, I have an audience out there. And the program can go online, and that can go across the universe, warriors, right? Like, why wouldn't we be sharing more the way I do? Other organizations' tweets or studies, or, everybody's very proprietary, I understand that. And everybody's raising money, so they're competitive. I understand that. But, call me wacky. I'm a wacky warrior. I really believe if you give it away and share, it comes back to me in other ways. I do believe that. So I'll do a free warrior workshop at a church. One person can show up again, or 100 people can show up. As long as one person shows up, I've done my job, I'm successful. And I share the information. I don't charge for that. It's my duty. Of course, we all want to make money. We all have to make money. I need to make money for the survivors. But you know what? Everything I do, maybe not in that day, comes back to me. Somebody will write to me, send me a check. A company, I just had this happen last week, and we'll talk more about this once the deal is done for the new year. Contact me and say, who writes your newsletters? Who does your show prep? I said, you're looking at her. I am one person. I do everything. I would do more, but there's only 24 hours in a day. And this is not to pat myself on the back. I just can't help myself. I am driven. I am angry that our government isn't shutting down this exploitation. I am angry that children are coming over this border that barely nobody. I did see yesterday one news network, cable news network, talking about the border. These kids are being dragged. And yes, there were some hearings, I believe, yesterday in Capitol Hill. I saw a little something with Mayorkas where Ted Cruz was talking about the kids in cages. And indeed, they've got the foil blanket, they're thrown on the floor. What happens on the Mexican side? The cartels run everything. A lot of these single men rent a child, say it's their child, so they're called a family unit. A lot of these kids on the other side of the border are drugged and warehoused in a building and then dragged through water and on land. And I'm going to be very blatant right now because my sources, and that would be law enforcement, border agents, we have little girls, and we certainly have teens and women too, bloodied, bruised. We have rape trees, we have rape houses. I don't like to talk about this stuff, but that's what's happening. Nobody's talking about it. Nobody's protecting. I don't care they're coming here illegally. I mean, I do care, don't get me wrong. These are children. Are governments allowing this? And the reason children were separated under Trump is because the administration realized there was a problem with the children. A lot of these kids did not belong to those adults. And they wanted to separate them to make sure that child was going with a true family member. And you know, with the red tape, things take time. We have, I would say, I think they report 1.7 million illegal immigrants since the new year. I would tell you it's over 2 million. Don't hold me to it. But these children, what happens when they get here? Why don't we, with that answer, not enough manpower and not enough resources? Let me read you. I'm going to have to put on my specs now. Something I put in my newsletter so I get it correct. There was an article, November 12th in USA Today, entitled, "How are you going to stop the internet? Online child sex abuse explodes to crisis level." Name of the article, November 12th, USA Today. The market for child sexual abuse material, or CSAM, the term preferred by law enforcement and advocates over child pornography, has exploded to crisis levels in the United States. According to Jim Cole, a Department of Homeland Security agent in Nashville, and I quote, "If I were king for a day, I would set up an agency that is dedicated to this crime type because it's so prolific. I could take every agent in my office and dedicate it to this crime type and still be busy. It was a pandemic before we even used the word pandemic." Then our good friend at the Warriors, Eleanor Gayetan, she's the Vice President and Director of Public Policy at the National Center on Sexual Exploitation in Washington, D.C., a Lynn's Warriors partner, is also quoted in the article. And I quote, experts and survivors of abuse widely agreed that the horrific nature of child sexual abuse makes it difficult to discuss publicly, and it is easier to dismiss it as a problem that won't affect their lives. But people should appreciate how rampant this is, how astronomical the numbers are. Lawmakers especially must act with more urgency, she said. What are we supposed to do? Criminals will always be criminals, but we don't even deter this stuff. Unbelievable, right, warriors? So in talking about the internet, I had also written, there's a great study, it's on lynswarriors.org, that children's screen time, this came out early November, doubled during the pandemic and hasn't changed since. The study from the University of California, San Francisco, kids are spending up to 8 hours a day, gaming, emailing, texting, chatting, snapping, TikToking. A little sidebar here, a little legal talk. TikTok is a crime scene. I'll leave it at that. It's a true crime scene. I mean that. Everybody should stay off TikTok. Every time I pick up my phone, I've got some woman dancing, and I don't even know who these people are. And I hear that from a lot of people, that who are these people dancing to this that we don't even follow? Complete manipulation. Got to get away from it. That 8 hours a day the kids are spending does not include schoolwork. During the pandemic, what happened? We're all sitting, all on the internet. And you know this, warriors. And it affected the children's mental health. So go to lynswarriors.org and look at this study I posted. What I suggest is that we have technology. I'm going to hashtag it. Actually, in a meeting, somebody laughed at me yesterday, but I don't care because I'm a warrior. Hashtag technology timeout. We as parents, grandparents, trusted adults have to start, and it kind of starts with us, because even if you think the kids aren't watching, the kids are watching us. Put that phone down or get off that internet and start with an hour a day, a family tech timeout. The kids will get used to it. But the adults first have to do it and get used to it and be willing to not be TikToking and dancing, whatever. Technology timeouts. We need to start addressing this. Where is this all going? Especially when I was just sent Meta, the new name for the company of Facebook. We're going to be in this virtual reality world. That's what they're looking to do. Of course, they're separating out Facebook. I'm sure this was all the grand plan for a long time to get away from all the recent criticism. I'll leave that for another time. Meta, M-E-T-A. Remember that was announced about 2 weeks ago? I immediately said, this is not for children with their developing brains and developing bodies, that they will be switching between virtual reality and reality. They will become confused. Remember, the brain is developing until 25. And somebody sent me this article, how in Asia, and I remember saying it to my husband, that when they announced this, they're going to have virtual influencers. And you know what? I was right, because this is all about virtual influencers in Asia. They're perfect and they stay young forever. Can you imagine the children are going to see this? You're perfect. By the way, there's no such thing as perfect. We all know that. And you're going to stay young forever. And they show these, and I have to do a little more, this just was sent to me, research on this. Children can't see this. Flipping between reality, virtual reality. Where's this all going? I think we know. So it's up to us to be warriors and take care of our own homes. Also, some really good news that, I wanted to, you have to sign up for my newsletter because I don't want to sit here and just read things to you. There's all these good take actions. For instance, tomorrow there's a virtual walk, the Global Collaborative. Now, I'll tell you, I always do focus on community of the United States, right in our own backyards, all of these crises. But I was invited to join something called the Global Collaborative, which is a lot of different countries and networks. And I said to myself, it can't hurt. My priority is right here in our own backyard, but I can learn from other people. Let me see what's happening. Let me get Lynn's warriors into the global community because I know my way's right. This is not an ego thing. We must start in our own homes. Spreading into our own communities will trickle down and blanket the entire country if we share facts and knowledge, and we can beat these predators. We have to do it ourselves though, because we're not, the government is working on things, but as you know, red tape, not a priority right now. Kind of never really was. I got very sad there for a second. Let me pull myself together. Children are most precious, are most vulnerable. This abuse is in the United States. So let me get back to, I joined up with the Global Collaborative. I invite you all to go on the website, globalcollaborative.org. You will see the warriors along with other institutions, a lot of religious institutions, governments, nonprofits, organizations. And the Global Collaborative is a survivor-led network of non-government organizations, that's Lynn's Warriors, faith-based institutions, survivor networks, and governments calling on the United Nations for the establishment of November 18th, which happens to be tomorrow. I don't know when you're watching this video, but that will be tomorrow, as International Day for Child Sexual Exploitation and Abuse Prevention, Protection, Healing, and Justice. And members of the public are invited to join the virtual walk to raise awareness and support for this new World Day. Now, let me tell you, I am not a cheerleader at all and involved with the UN. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't like them. Money makers, I don't ever see the job getting done. I've been invited to join many things with the UN. I never have. But you know what? A virtual walk that's not costing anybody any money, that simply is raising awareness about these issues. I'll put Lynn's Warriors on that collaborative. Yeah, I'm not giving anybody money. I'm not hanging out at the UN. I'm getting the name of the warriors in front of a lot more people. And the way I want to educate in front of a lot more people. Because I know the way I work, and I know most people don't work the way I work. So I know we can have some success and protect our children. So the globalcollaborative.org, please. But I want you to sign up because, there's also like next Monday, November 22nd, the New Jersey Coalition Against Human Trafficking, safernewjersey.org is the website. Our good friend Christian Eduardo, a survivor, will be speaking about the trauma and the financial burden after being a survivor, what you go through. And I would want all of you to hear this because it's not, somebody gets rescued, somebody gets saved. It's where do you put them? Where's the medical treatment? The psychological treatment? What about a job training? All these different facets. It's an ongoing, lifelong process. And that's what Lynn's Warriors works on. Not just, here's some food money. Yes, we do that, but also it's a whole package kind of thing. So I want all of you to be aware of what we're doing here. It's not just a tweet or a Facebook, actual work. We'll get more into that in the new year when I can reveal some more things. I also, the survivors I hold very near and dear. And so I don't like to, other than giving you sort of a round picture of what we do at the Warriors, talk about them. It's private, it's trauma. Just know there's so many, and we don't want any more. That's why we want to make a dent in this. So you're going to join me. You're going to be a warrior. And don't forget Giving Tuesday. November 30th is a global day recognizing organizations, people doing good, organizations doing good. And I'm not shy about this. Please, Global Tuesday. Go to linswarriors.org. Hit the donate button. I don't care if it's $1. Know you did something good. These people need help. I don't see the way I'm working, many people working. I'll just leave it at that for now. Actually, we had some really good news out of New York State. I'm all about the good news. There's not a lot of it. Justice, thank you, Governor Kathy Hochul, for signing legislation aimed at expanding protections for victims of sex trafficking. It is called the START Act. We thought it would be signed by our former Governor Cuomo. He never got around to it. Kathy Hochul signed it. And it simply means, and I've spoken to law enforcement in the last 48 hours, judges, DAs, they are ecstatic about this. This is huge. This is groundbreaking. The START Act. Please look it up. Go to Lynn's Warriors. Actually, I didn't post it yet. I have to get to the website and post new information. The START Act relates to vacating convictions for offenses committed due to being a victim of sex trafficking, labor trafficking, and compelling prostitution. What does that mean? A lot of kids, let's use an example, 14-year-old boy, forced into prostitution by an adult. That's compelling prostitution. That child didn't enter that. A child cannot be a prostitute. Force for coercion, that's sex trafficking. This will not hold them responsible. What these pimps and traffickers and horrible people do is they almost always get that vulnerable, oppressed person to commit another crime, robbery, something with drugs, something, shoplifting, and these kids get records. And I had a judge almost crying to me one day. He's like, these kids come in my court. I don't want to put them in foster care. I don't want to accuse them of anything. I don't want to. Crying. And was so happy yesterday when I contacted him. He said he's been waiting for this, the START Act, vacating convictions for offenses committed due to being a victim of sex trafficking, labor trafficking, and compelling prostitution when you're forced. Most prostitutes, it's not that pretty woman I keep talking about a scenario. Most people are forced into prostitution. They are oppressed and vulnerable. There is a pimp or trafficker behind them. That can be a family member, a stranger, somebody they met online, forced for coercion. We have to break these chains, because it's escalating with more and more children and teens getting involved in this online predation. And then the survivors, and I always let them talk whatever they want to tell me. I don't press and question them. And with all this trauma going on, they're scared. They didn't know where to go. They had no money. They didn't, because people say, why didn't they just run away? Where are they running? And the laws are against them. Cops are going to pick them up. I used to get all the time, well, I put her in jail, Lynn, because it was one night less, than being on the streets or being beaten up by the pimp. Now, is that an answer in America? No, it's not. It's really not. And I want to remind everybody, the overlooked Native American Heritage Month is November. 40% of women survivors of sex trafficking identify as Native American. Think about that. The violence in this community is overlooked. The murder and rapes. And we have to talk more about this. I don't see much about Native American Heritage Month for November going on. We also have a new problem with boys now are having a lot of eating disorders due to what they see on social media. They want to look like that guy. So can you imagine Meta In the future, when we have these perfect, what they deem perfect robotic virtual reality, and the kids are trying to live up to those standards, forget the adults. The adults are gone. We have to protect our kids. We really do. So boys are having eating disorders. I have 3 great articles I posted on the website, lindswarriors.org. Another study, teens and tweens are sharing. They're habituated now to sharing nudes on their phones, laptops. They think nothing of it. Warriors, I can't do this alone. You have to do it in your own home. You have to listen to me, share some of these facts. Remember, I'm sure you pay as the adult for the phones, for the laptops, for, put down some ground rules. Do it together. The kids are so used to all this freedom. No, start taking it back. Tech timeouts. And that reminds me, on December 8th, we'll have our good friend Chris McKenna join Lynn's Warriors WVOX. And of course, I post all that on Facebook and Twitter. And he will give us safety tips, everything. His whole company, Protect Young Eyes. I can't say enough good things about it. ProtectYoungEyes.com. Everything to do with tech, what you need to know, the steps you need to take, a lot of free stuff. He does great little nuggets, these videos. It's like just gives you the idea in your head, do this. It's animated, it sticks. It's just like a little nugget. We all have a minute to watch a video. That's Chris McKenna, ProtectYoungEyes.com. I urge all of you to go on that. Start taking a really hard look at all this tech stuff, because it is just out of control. And I think we can all agree that there will be a Section 230 reform of the Communications Decency Act. That Section 230 allows for big tech, let me write this down, to operate, full immunity. They're not responsible for what anybody posts. So somebody could have a rape video of a child. Well, Facebook, as an example, is not responsible. They're acting as a billboard because they're hiding behind this Section 230 blanket immunity. We all agree it has to change. 1996, kind of the birth of the internet, the predators have really figured out a way to get ahead of all of this. And our government is trying to catch up. There's a lot of laws pending in Congress. Again, a lot of red tape, a lot going on. Eyes are not all on this right now of importance, up to us to be a warrior. So I want all of you to recognize that November is Native American Heritage Month. Do a little research on that. Also, November is National Runaway Prevention Month. 1-800-runaway.org. Find out about this crisis, because there's an intersection between youth homelessness and human trafficking, sex trafficking. They meet. A kid's out on the street. Traffickers zoom right in. Kids are vulnerable. You got to know these things, warriors. I want to build out. I want to finish up with Kathy Hochul, our governor of New York, START Act, tremendous, huge news. I also heard from my sources this full decrim being pushed around the country, but here in New York on a big scale, and being financed behind the scenes, and the media is certainly all for the pro-sex trade. Now remember, the pro-sex trade, the full decrim where anything goes, that sounds great to the untrained ear of it's a woman or a man's body. They can do what they want. They can control their finances. That sounds great, full decrim, because that's the messaging of full decrim. When the reality is, oh yeah, that happens. Keep in mind, we have studies about 97% of these prostituted people are victims of a pimp and a trafficker. Keep that in mind. The flip side nobody talks about is that full decrim for the pimps, traffickers, brothel owners, sex buyers, any third party that causes harm. What does that mean? Lots of money to be made, more demand, more clients, because they're not getting in trouble for raping a 10-year-old girl. More demand, More people will be trafficked because there's more money to be made. Explosive sex trade. So we know the mainstream media is on the side of the pro-sex trade. But, we had elections a couple of weeks ago, and some seats flipped in upstate New York and also out on Long Island. And the appetite right now is not for Governor Hochul, from what I'm told, to push this full decrim. So for today, this is really great news. I don't know what the future holds. We take one day at a time with all of this. No full decrim right now. She's not dealing with that. Good news. I also want to point out, let's end up with a very important initiative came out today that is completely even shocking to me, and I don't get shocked easily. There's a wonderful organization called sharedhope.org. Please go on their website, sharedhope.org. They released today their annual report cards on each state on how they are doing with child and youth sex trafficking. And I want you to go on the website because sharedhope.org, it will show you very thorough the steps they take to determine the grade of each state. It's based on survivor initiatives, legislative actions, a whole package of 6 different steps that form the basis for the grade. Warriors, 40 states received an F as in failure, 40 states. 10 states I can't even say it, I'm so upset. 10 states received a D. 1 state received a C, and that is the state of Florida. No state received a B or an A. 50 states received failing and D grades. Last year, New York received a C, and we went now to an F. Find out how your state did. But I want you to read what went into the grading of this. Very thorough. They work on this report. They put it out annually, every year. There's the proof. Every state, Florida got a C. I believe Florida was a B last year. New York was a C. I think Connecticut was a B. I have to double check myself because I've been running around today and didn't extensively go state by state. The bottom line is we're failing at this. I'm not failing and you're not failing because if you're listening to me, you're a warrior. That's step 1. Sharedhope.org. I want you to find out how your state is doing. Warriors, what can I say except thank you for having me in your homes. Thank you to any of you. You all should be listening to the radio program, Lynn's Warriors on WVOX. Airs live every Wednesday, 3 to 4 p.m. Eastern. A lot of resources out there. If we share the information, if we come together, remember, if I reach one of you each day, then I've done my job. And you're all here listening to this. So remember, today and every day, be a warrior.